What's up, YouTube? So today I'm going to show you guys my PS4 and PS5 collection. As you guys can see, I have a lot of PlayStation games. So yeah, let's get started with this. Now the first up is Akiba's Beat. This is a JRPG music type game, but I mean, it's not like, I don't remember if there's any music type mini games because I haven't played this in forever. But yeah, Akiba's Beat was pretty good. Next up, I have is Assassin's Creed, the Ezio collection, which is Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations. Yep, so that's 3 games. But yeah, I like all the Assassin's Creed. I have pretty much all of them. And I'm looking forward to the new one, Shadows. So yeah. Next up I have is Assassin's Creed 3, which has Assassin's Creed Liberation also. So yep, that one's pretty good too. Next up I have is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I mean, if you remember on my PS3 game collection, I have Assassin's Creed Black Flag on that one as well. So yeah, I have pretty much 2 of the same games. Yeah. Next up I have is Assassin's Creed Rogue. Yep, another Assassin's Creed. Next up is Assassin's Creed Unity. Another Assassin's Creed, and then Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and then Assassin's Creed Origins. This one's the Steelbook edition. Next up is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Another Steelbook. And Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Next up is Batman Arkham Knight. This one was the last one on like the consoles. Yeah, I never played like the ones on the VR and everything, so yeah, I have no idea if those are like continuations of like the story after Arkham Knight. But yeah. Next up I have is 2 games, Bayonetta and Vanquish. I've actually never played these games before, so yeah. Let me know if these are pretty good. I know Bayonetta was pretty good, but I have no idea what Vanquish is about. So yeah, let me know if that one is good. Next up I have is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Yep, another Call of Duty game. Next up I have is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Next up I have is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. This one has the remastered Modern Warfare, not the reboot one, but yeah, the original one for like the 360 and PS3 that came out in like 2008, I think. That's when it came out. Next up I have is Cyberpunk 2077. Yep, I know this one has like a lot of bugs and everything. Well, when it first came out, but yeah, I never played it when it first came out, so I have no idea. So anyways, I have is next game I have is Danganronpa Trilogy. This one has 1, 2, and 3, so yeah, pretty much I think this is all the Danganronpas. I'm not sure. Let me know if this was all of them or if I'm missing a few. But yeah, I found this at GameStop one day and decided to get it because I heard about Danganronpa, but yeah, I never played it, and I still haven't played these games yet, so. Next up I have is the Devil May Cry HD collection. It has 1, 2, and 3, so yeah. Next up I have is Devil May Cry the Definitive Edition. This one doesn't have Dante. I think it has Nero. I think that's the name. Yeah. Next up I have is Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2. I have Xenoverse 1 digitally on my PS5, but yeah, so I got Xenoverse 2. Next up I have is Dragon Quest 11. I think that's 11. Echoes of the Elusive Age. Yeah, I never really played Dragon Quest before, but yeah, decided to get this, and I still haven't played it yet, so yeah. Let me know if that's pretty good. Next up I have is Far Cry Primal. I have pretty much all the Far Cry games, I just haven't played them. Well, most of them. I've played most of them. Yeah, I haven't played Primal, so I have no idea what Primal's about, but yeah, I've played this one. I've played Far Cry 4. I finished this, so yeah. I've finished Far Cry 4. I've also have this one, Far Cry 5. I finished this one too. And next up I have is Far Cry New Dawn. So yeah, I'm actually on the final mission on this one. I just have not picked it up. I'm playing something else right now, so yeah. So next up I have is Final Fantasy X and X2, the HD remaster. Yeah, I like the Final Fantasy games, but yeah, just picked that one up because it was pretty cheap, but yeah. Next up I have is Final Fantasy 15. Another Final Fantasy game. Next up I have is God Eater 3. Because I actually got God Eater 2 digitally, and I decided just to get God Eater 3 because, you know, why not? So, next up I have is God of War 3 Remaster. Like, I have pretty much all the God of War games, and I just, you know, saw this one day and decided to get it, so. Next up I have is God of War 2018. Next game I have is Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3. I've actually never played the other ones. This was actually my first one, so yeah. Just decided to play this and yeah, decided to get that anyways, but yeah, that's yep. And next up I have is Kenna Bridge of Spirits. I heard this was like kind of like Jak and Daxter and everything, but yeah, I just got it and never played it, so. Next up I have is Lego Marvel collection, which has Lego Marvel Avengers, Marvel Superheroes, and Marvel Superheroes 2. Yep, so like all the Lego games. Next up I have is Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. So this one has all 9 movies. You play through all 9 movies, and yeah, I haven't played this one either, so yeah. I have a lot of games in my backlog. Next up I have is Life is Strange. Yeah, I played that one. I finished it. Yeah, it was a pretty good game. I have Life is Strange Before the Storm. I've actually haven't played this one either, but I know it's before Life is Strange #1, so yeah. Next up I have is Madden 25, or you can call it Madden 14 because it's from 2014, not from 2025, but yeah. Next up I have is MLB The Show 14. This is pretty much my only non-steelbook for MLB The Show. So, because the rest I have are on steelbooks. So, next up I have is MLB The Show 15 in a steelbook. And then MLB The Show 16 in a steelbook. And then MLB The Show 17. Next up, MLB The Show 18. MLB The Show 19. And MLB The Show 20. Yeah, those are all my MLB The Shows on PS4. The rest are on my PS5, so yeah. Next up I have is Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Legacy, which has Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, yep, decided to get that, and I got like 4 games out of it. So, yeah, that one's pretty good. Next up I have is Nier Automata. Yeah, this one was pretty good too, yeah. Another like anime type game. Next up is Nier Replicant. I still haven't played this one, so I have no idea what this one's about, but I think it's similar to Nier Automata. Next game is Ni no Kuni, another anime type game. And then I have the sequel, Ni no Kuni, The Revenant Kingdom. Next up is Persona 5, the original Persona 5, not like the Royal or anything like that. I do have Royal, but I just don't have a PS4. Or I used to have a PS4, but yeah, I got rid of it. So yep, Persona 5. Next up I have Persona 5 Strikers. This is pretty much like the sequel to Persona 5. Next up is Red Dead Redemption 2. Even though it's number 2, it's like a prequel to number 1, so yeah. Next up I have is Resident Evil Biohazard, which is Resident Evil 7. I do have Resident Evil 8 and everything else, so yeah. Next up is Resident Evil 2 Remake, where you play as Leon and Claire. And then Resident Evil 3 Remake, where you play as Jill. Next game is Spyro Reignited Trilogy, which is Spyro's 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I like the Spyro game, so yeah, I decided to get that one as well. Next up I have is Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. This is Steelbook. Then I have Sword Art Online Lost Song. And then I have Sword Art Online Fatal Bullet. And then the last one is Sword Art Online Alicization Lycris. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. I know there's another one. I don't have that one. So yeah, I don't have the last one that came out. Next up I have is Tales of Zestiria. I like all the Tales games, but yeah. Another JRPG type game that you would like, if you like RPG games and anime. So yep, next up I have is Tales of Berseria, which is the prequel to Tales of Zestiria. So if you do like get them, I would recommend playing Tales of Berseria first and then Tales of Zestiria. Next up is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. I mean, if you get like any of the Tales games, I would recommend playing any of them first. But if you get like Zestiria first, I would recommend getting Berseria first, playing that one, and then playing Zestiria. Anyways, next up I have is Tales of Symphonia Remaster, which has 2 games. So yep, that's another Tales game. And then next up is Nayuta Boundless Trails, another JRPG type game. Next up is Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero. I do like the Trails games as well, so yeah. If you like those, yeah, Trails games were pretty fun, but they're so hard to find. So yeah, so I'm trying to move all these stuff. Yes. Okay. Next up is Trails to Azure, which is the sequel to from Trails from Zero. So yep, that one. And then the sequel to Trails to Azure is Trails to Cold Steel. Trails to Cold Steel 1 and Trails to Cold Steel 2. They do have 3 and 4 for PS4, but I got rid of those because, as you guys know, I mean, I did have them in my collection before. So yeah, if you rewatch my old like PS4 collection, it was in them. Next up I have is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. So yeah, I like the Tomb Raider games as well. So I also have Rise Tomb Raider, sequel to Tomb Raider, and then the last Tomb Raider game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Next up is Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. Yep, I like all the Uncharted games as well. Yeah, pretty much every like popular PlayStation title I pretty much like as well. Next up I have is The Order 1886, and I heard some people didn't like this one, but I actually did like this one myself, but yeah. Next up I have is The Last Guardian. I like The Last Guardian as well, but I didn't finish it. I only got, I think, like halfway through it. I'm not sure. I need to replay this again because I don't remember anything from that as well. Next up I have is Titanfall 2. Yeah, I like the Titanfall games too, so. Yeah, another like first-person shooter, I think, with like giant mechs and everything. But yeah, next game is Watch Dogs. Yep. You get to hack anything and stuff like that, yep. And then Watch Dogs 2. And then one of my favorite series as well is Yakuza. I have Yakuza 0. Yakuza 6, Song of Life. And I also have Yakuza Like a Dragon. And then I have another JRPG type game that I like as well, which is the YS or Ys or whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure. But yeah, Memories of Celceta, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure. But yeah. And that's all for my PS4 collection. We're going to move on to my PS5 collection. So the first game is Assassin's Creed Mirage, another Assassin's Creed game. So, like I said, I like all the Assassin's Creed. Then next up I have is Call of Duty Vanguard. Call of Duty games. I like Call of Duty games and everything like that. So next up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the reboot. And that's pretty much all my Call of Duty games right now. Yeah, I didn't get Modern Warfare 3 or Black Ops 6 yet, but yeah. I'll probably get them eventually. Next up I have is the Callisto Project, or Protocol. This is basically, I think, like, Resident Evil, but in space. I think. That's what the vibes are giving me, but I haven't played it yet, so. Next up I have is College Football 25. Another like Madden type video game, so yeah. Next up is Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, which is basically like the Demon Slayer story from season 1. So yeah, if you've watched season 1, then you pretty much know what the story is, but yeah. Next up I have is Devil May Cry 5. You know, like I said, I like the Devil May Cry series, but I haven't played them, but I have all of them. Just haven't played them yet. Next up I have is Far Cry 6. Like I said, I like all the Far Cry series as well, and I played most of them. I haven't played all of them. I haven't played Far Cry 6 yet, but yeah. Next up I have is Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion, which is basically Crisis Core from the PSP. If you played that, then it's basically the same story, but just like a remake in better graphics and everything, so. Next up I have is Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for the PS5. Another Final Fantasy game. And then I have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Haven't played this one yet. I played all the other ones. I just haven't played Rebirth yet. And next up is Final Fantasy 16. I haven't played this one either. Yeah, because it's still in plastic. Yep. Next up I have is Forspoken. Heard people didn't really like this one, but yeah, I liked it. So yeah. still have that game. And next up is Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Like that one too. And then next up is God of War Ragnarok. Pretty much the last God of War game. Next up is Gotham Knights. Basically like a Batman Arkham type game. Yeah, I haven't really played that one either, so yeah, don't quote me on that. The vibes just gave me like Batman Arkham type video game, but yeah. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's basically like another, I think, Arkham type video game. Although I have played that one. That one's Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty good. So yeah, I do recommend playing that. Next up I have is Hogwarts Legacy. I'm actually not a fan, not that much of a fan of like Harry Potter and everything, but I decided to get this. And I was surprised at how fun it actually was. Like I had a lot of fun playing this game. So yeah. Next up I have is Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Basically Horizon Zero Dawn from the PS4, but just remastered for PS5. Next up I have is Horizon Forbidden West sequel. Next up I have is Judgment. This is part of the Yakuza series, if you've seen that before, but yeah, that's Judgment. Next up I have is Lego Horizon Adventures. This is basically just Lego Horizon Zero Dawn. This is basically only the first game, so. Next up I have is Lost Judgment, which is basically this is the sequel to Judgment, so. Next up I have is Madden 21, PS5. And then I have Madden 23 for PS5. And then I have Madden 24. Yep, Madden 24. Next up I have is Metaphor ReFantazio. This is a JRPG game. It's basically like Persona. So if you play like Persona games and everything, then I would recommend playing this one as well. This one was pretty good too. Next up I have is Madden or MLB The Show 23. I don't have 22 and 21. Like steelbooks and everything. I actually got them like digitally. So yeah. Next up I have is MLB The Show 24. I might just be getting like all the other MLB games digitally now, because basically like if you want to get like a steelbook and everything, it's just going to be like just a steelbook and no disc and everything, because Madden 24 was pretty much, or MLB 24 was pretty much like that, just no disc, just a steelbook, just a code and everything, so yeah. Next up I have is Naruto to Boruto Storm. Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections. Yeah. I think that's like pretty much a new story, but yeah, I haven't played it, so yeah. Next up I have is Persona 4 Reload, which is Persona 3, or yeah, Persona 3 Reload, I mean. Yeah, there's basically Persona 3 remaster, remaked, and everything like that, so. Next up is Persona 5 Royal for PS5. And then I have Persona 5 Tactia, or whatever you want to call it, yep. It's basically like a chibi type game and everything, so if you don't like those, then I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, I had fun playing Persona 5 Tactia, so it was pretty fun. Next up I have is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yeah, that one's pretty good too, so. Next up is Resident Evil Village, which is Resident Evil 8. Yep, another survivor horror game, you know. Next up I have is Rise of the Ronin. I don't really know what that one's about, but yeah. Everyone's been comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima, but it's not really Ghost of Tsushima, so everyone's been disappointed about that game, but yeah. Next up I have is Scarlet Nexus, another JRPG game. And then I have another stack right here, so. Next up I have is Spider-Man Miles Morales, which had Spider-Man Remastered. So, yep, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Next up I have is Spider-Man 2. Yep, Spider-Man 2 with, you get to play as both Peter and Miles. So yeah, that one was pretty fun. Next up I have is Soul Hackers 2. If you didn't play Soul Hackers 1, then you don't really need to play that to play Soul Hackers 2, because this is basically like a new story. At least I think it is, because I didn't really catch any references for Soul Hackers 2, but I wasn't really looking for any, so yeah. Next up I have is Star Wars Fallen Order. Another Star Wars game. I do like all these Star Wars games, so yeah, that one was pretty fun. Then I have Star Wars Survivor, Jedi Survivor. That one basically is a sequel, and then I can't wait for the third one to come out. Next up is Star Wars Outlaws. Another Star Wars game. And then I have Uncharted Legacy of Thieves, which is Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. I did play those both on PS4, but I decided to get this one for PS5 and get rid of the PS4 versions, so yeah. Next up I have is Tales of Arise. Told you I like all the Tales games, so yeah. That one's the new one, so yeah. And then Remastered, Tales of Grace's F Remastered. I have this for my PS3, so yeah, I decided to get this for PS5. Next up is The Last of Us Part 1. Last of Us, great story game, emotional and everything, so yeah, pretty good. And then I have Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. I actually did have that one for PS4, but yeah, got rid of that one as well and decided to get the PS5 version. Next up I have is the Trails of Cold Steel 3 and 4. I did have these for PS4, but yeah, since it came out with the PS5 version, decided to get those instead of and get rid of the PS5 version. Next up I have is Trails into Reverie, which is the sequel to Trails Cold Steel 4. So yeah. And then the sequel to Trails from Reverie, Trails Through Daybreak, which is basically just a new story, but yeah, characters from previous games show up in this, so yeah. And then the sequel, Trails Through Daybreak 2. So yeah, pretty much have all the Trails game. I can't wait for the Trails in the Sky remake. That's coming out later this year. Next up I have is Watchdog Legion. This is the last of the Watchdog series, so yep. And that's another game. Next game I have is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. This one is the sequel to Like a Dragon, so yep. This one was pretty fun as well. I finished those. Next up I have is Like a Dragon Ishin, which is a spin-off. So yeah, you don't really need to play this one to understand the game, but yeah. I haven't played this one either, so yeah. Next game I have is Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. Yeah, I have all the Ys games, so yep. And that brings me to Ys 9. Monstrum Nox, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, I haven't played this one, so I have no idea what this one's about, but yeah. I'm playing right now, Ys 8 right now, so yeah, I'm trying to get all my backlog in order. And then the last game in my collection is Ys 10, Nordics. So yep, this is basically all my PS4, PS5 collection. So yeah, if you like that video, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, and everything. So, and I'll see you in the next one.